Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology Podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more. Coming to Dallas, Texas, September 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2018, the Blockchain and Future Tech Expo. This is going to be a gigantic conference of over 5,000 people. We're going to be talking about blockchain and its applications. We're going to be talking about quantum computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and several other future technologies that are poised to and actually changing our lives as we speak. Here's why you should attend. As you may know, early adopters are the ones that investigated and profited from things like the gold rush in the 1800s, from the dot-com boom in the 1990s, from the internet boom in 2005, from the smartphone explosion in 2007, from the real estate boom that ended in 2008, and of course, from the Bitcoin boom that started in 2012. Early adopters act now. They don't wait till later. They go out west first. In their covered wagons, they find the biggest gold nuggets. If you consider yourself an early adopter and you want to find the biggest nuggets, then you owe it to yourself to attend this upcoming conference. Blockchain is going to affect how we control and store our medical data, how we send money around the world, how we bank, and more. But artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cybersecurity will play a pivotal role in our lives as well. And that's why our next event, September 14th to the 16th at the Dallas Convention Center, is going to have not only 5,000 plus attendees, but will showcase blockchain, AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, and more. You want to get in on the coming gold rush of future tech and opportunity as an early adopter. Don't be left out. To register, go to bftexpo.com. That's blockchainfuturetechexpo.com. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome to the Future Tech Podcast. I'm Alan Thomas, and today with me is Thomas Berman, COO of BLB Industries. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm very well, thank you, Berman.
Oh, great to have you here. Well, we'll just go right into it. What is BLB Industries? What's the company about, and what do you guys do?
We are more or less a startup. We were founded for 2.5 years ago, and there were 3 people involved. It's Burman, Lundin, Bergdahl, the 3 persons that founded the company. After that, we have, at today's date, we have 6 people involved, 3 active and 3 passive investors behind us. So we are still a very young and quite small company, but growing rapidly.
Okay, great. And what is it in your background that led you to help found this company? Were you already in this space, or are you new to the industry as well?
No, actually, it's a quite interesting background because Kim and Jacob, the other 2 co-founders, they are high school graduates working or studying a school for 3D technicians, and they set as a goal to build a large 3D printer. So they are the founder of the idea, and my background as an automotive engineer and robot programmer helped with the technical side, and the personal connections between us was very strong. We had a good friendship between us. So right from the beginning, we decided to start this company, and we have the goal was very clear from the beginning, and with that goal, we had no problems to find the finance we needed to start the business, and that was autumn 2015 we started. So 2016 in spring we released the first machine, and that's when we were more or less public. It's not a long time we have been around, but we have put some put some marks on the ground already.
And I know you said that your background was a little bit of auto engineering. So do you find that there was a lot of parallels between that and what you're doing now in terms of how you lay out, how you lay out specs and how you plan the work, or maybe how you put together the machines?
Yeah, actually, it's the background, not the background, but the way we think in these questions is that since we are a small company and a new starter company, the only way to compete with the big industry is to have absolute highest standard of quality on every component. So from day one, we have decided not to take any shortcuts whatsoever. So all our products in the machine is of highest level. We have the Bosch Rexroth linear system, and we have every component is fit for industry. If you go to a large company and buy a Chinese no-brand motor, then you can't. If the big car company have a shelf full of spare parts, and then you bring in a Chinese no-name component, it doesn't work. You need to have the same quality as they use. So that's the most important aspect. This is not a toy. This is a fully fledged industrial machine.
And so, do you particularly work with businesses and institutions, or do you sometimes also run into individual consumers who want the product, who want the machine?
Price-wise, we're absolutely looking for the big companies. This is not a hobby machine at all. But I will explain later. But the way the machine works is so fundamentally different than almost every other 3D printer, plastic 3D printer that is. So we need to have we want to have three legs to stand on. And mainly we are machine builders. We build custom machines for each custom-made machine. But to advertise that and to have a dialogue with the customer, we also have print service. So anyone can reach out to us and send in a file. We can print parts for them. That's no problem at all. And the third part, since we're very curious type of persons, R&D is in our blood. So those three different business areas is linked together very closely.
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little. When you say how the customer comes to you and then how you kind of custom build the machine, what's the process that they go through when engaging with the company in terms of being able to get to where they can get their machine built? Oh,
that's going to be a long answer because I need to explain how our machines work to begin with, if it's okay.
Oh yeah, go ahead. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So we don't build machines. We have a system, and that system is infinite scalable, both bigger and smaller. So this system can adapt to the different customers' needs. For instance, we have, I don't have the American units. I need to translate in my head, and that's not good. I have to take the European units anyway. The small machine are 3 cubic meters, and the big one we are building now is 6 cubic meters. And a 6 cubic meter machine is not at all the biggest we can do. We don't have a size limitation. But for now, we have a customer that needs a 6 cubic meter machine to build that specific for his needs. And he also wants a twin extruder on the machine. So we have that possibility as well. But the main thing we do is that we use industrial standard granulate instead of filament. And when you use granulate, you have a lot of much more options and much the possibility to hand pick the properties of the material you're looking for. Is it PP you want to use? Then it's no problem. But if you have proprietary material with wood content or carbon fiber and so forth, it could be very tricky to use that material in any other printer system. But since we use granulate and can handle all the plastic material you can think of, then we can hand build the extruder for the customer's needs. So for instance, we can have the one we're building now is 100 pounds an hour in capacity. It's 40 kilo an hour. And that's the need of the customer. He has a half-inch nozzle on that machine. It's a 12 millimeter nozzle. So he needs to have a good productivity and a large product that he's producing. So that's the dialogue we have with the customer. What are the needs and the purpose for the product itself? And then we custom-made the machine for them.
So ultimately, it ends up becoming a custom-made machine, just kind of based off what you've learned from already being involved with them. It's like kind of along the way, you kind of end up finding out what it is that they actually need, and you just kind of customize as you go.
Yes, and that's why we have the print service. I think the most common, actually, the first interaction is more, I've seen your printers on the internet, for instance. What can it do? And then you have a dialogue, and you say, send some files, we can show you. And then we can have test prints made, and they say, okay, this is good, but we need a bit of tweaking for one reason or another. I say, yeah, fine, but this is the machine we can present to you at this moment. But if you want your own machine, then we can change the parameters so it works for his special needs. So it's a back and forth. You have a close relationship with the customer.
So in getting to this point, and getting BLB to this point, it takes a lot to put a company together, and especially to actually bring your products to market. What are some of the difficulties that you guys have encountered when getting to this point, putting together the company and bringing your product out?
Yeah, actually, we quite proudly can say that everything we do it backwards compared to almost any other company. We are a new company with a new product for a new market, and that's the toughest you can get into. But to make it even more difficult for us, almost without exception, every of our customers want to be in the technical forefront, and therefore we signed an NDA with them. So we don't have any reference projects at all. We can't talk about what customer we're working on and what projects we are doing. And that shouldn't be possible at all for a newly founded company. But for some reason, it doesn't matter in our case because we are in growth pain. We have a tremendous amount of interest, and we are working out night and day to catch up with the interest. So it's a very interesting situation. But when you talk to all business leaders and try to get some advice from them, we say we can't follow those advices because it doesn't apply to us. So everything we do is a little bit different.
So you're kind of writing a playbook, or you're kind of really blazing a trail for other people to come behind you then. But you have to kind of figure out what to do for yourself up front.
Yeah, absolutely, day by day, because one of the earliest directions we were told by our board, we need to find what branches, what businesses we are going to concentrate on. And we say it's absolutely impossible. As of today, I can take the two extremes. We have a machine for biomedical parts in India that's in a clean room environment on the other one hand. And on the other hand, we have mining business that wants to build a series of printers for the mining industry. So that's the spectrum, and then we have everything in between. It's absolutely impossible to rule out any businesses because we are in the middle of everything.
So going along that line have there been any clients in any industry that have come to you and they've said, well, this is what we would really, really want to see, or this is what we really wish for, kind of a thing, and maybe you'd had to tell them, well, we can do this piece or this piece, but to do the whole thing might be a couple of years out, or that might be something where it might be 5 years out, and maybe the technology just hasn't caught up to it yet. Maybe a situation like that.
And as I just said, no, actually it's the other way around. This is
really?
so weird situation because we have a couple of very, very large, and to put in perspective, we are 3 active guys working with this. We are a small company as of today. We are growing rapidly, but as of today, we are very small. And we are almost exclusively working with billion-dollar companies. There are huge companies we are working together with, and they have both the interest and the time to wait for us to catch up. So if you say, we don't say we can't do this now, we must do it in 5 years' time. But instead, we work together with them to speed up the process. So if it would have taken 5 years, together with their support and their backup, we can do it in 6 months or a year. So we are rapidly expanding the possibilities for the development of 3D printers.
So for you guys, it comes down to, well, we don't know today maybe how it can be done, but let's all get together and find out and work it out, kind of solve the problem.
Yeah. And the same goes for the material development. We have a German customer. It's $3 billion company in Germany, and they have a licensed certificated material that they work with for their whole line of products, and they are changing the recipe to be able to print it in our printer, and that's a huge undertake with the cost for new certifications and so forth. But they are in so firm believers that our technology can change their whole business model. I can take an example, or I don't know how to explain it. They sell about 20,000 pieces of this product, and a small percentage of this product is not non-standard. Those products has to be handmade today, and that small percentage is about 3,500 units per year that is hand built, and they want to 3D print those parts. So what we are doing that shouldn't be possible is that we mass produce individual components. So it's both 3D printing as a business model compared with mass production. So it's we open up a whole new can of worms. It's quite interesting.
Also, I wanted to go back to one thing that you said about having to sign a lot of NDAs or non-disclosure agreements when you work with different customers. So especially at the beginning with the first few customers, if you're not able to show people customer reviews or even tell them who you're working with, like how do you overcome that when you're getting the next customer?
I don't have a good answer for that, because it's almost as we have to start all over every day with the same start. But fortunately, we are our self-esteem and our knowledge has grown customer by customer. So that's actually quite easy. We show them what's possible, and we try to under-promise and over-deliver. That's the main part. So they will be amazed and surprised when they get the machines at their disposal. So we never over-promise things.
And for the company itself, for BLB itself, what does the roadmap look like for the next year or 2 years? What's coming around the bend for you guys?
First and foremost, we have just in the end of February, we moved out from the starting facility. So we are in our own factory 5 times as big as we had when we started. So that's a good thing. We have a lot more floor space. And then we have started to hire people. We have, since we are 3 technical guys making this happen, so we have taken an external CEO that will be coming in this spring and this summer, and he can help mature the company, take it to the next level. That's one side of it, and then we have a lot more engineers to come help building the machines. So we are growing and maturing as a company. That's the next step. And now we're talking 3-4 months ahead. And then for a longer goal is to grow. We are eager to grow as big as we can, because the sky is the limit. We have the customers, we have the demands, we have the interest, and we have the financial background. So that's only time limitation. It's so many times per day to work with.
And so for the people listening, what's some of the big takeaways or the big things you want our listeners to think about or remember when they think about BLB?
Actually, if you look at the web page, then it's a big 3D printer, or in the news, it's a big 3D printer. But I think it's more the way you approach the production, the mindset when you reach production. With our machine, you can make parts cost efficient, because we try to use the biggest nozzle you can for the product. And if you start losing details, then you have to reduce the size one size, reduce the nozzle one size. So we use very coarse printing when you do the product, and that's because when the products come out of the 3D printer, it's not ready. It's not supposed to be ready. The best way to handle a 3D printed product is to post-process it. And that's a very important message to the whole 3D printing industry. Our ice is not a very good tool for measuring quality. It looks nice on the surface, but it still needs post-processing to be able to be in industrial quality. So instead of staring at the surface quality, make the product functional, and then post-process it to the surface finish or the tolerance that you need for the purpose. That's the biggest takeaway. You need to see 3D printing as a production method that needs post-processing.
And Thomas, what's the best way for our listeners to get more information and really interact with you guys? Is it the main website? Is it a different one? What's the best way that you want them to engage with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is our number one connection. And actually, as I said before, we do everything differently. We don't do any commercials at all, not written and not in newspaper, no advertisement whatsoever. And even though that's the case, we are located in Sweden, but I think about 80% of our customers is abroad. So we don't do advertisements. So, and the only way to get in contact is by our webpage.
Can you give us the webpage one time, just so make sure folks can have it?
Yeah, it's blbindustries.se. Okay,
great. And Thomas, I just want to thank you for coming on to the podcast. You've given us a lot of good information, and just thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your time.
Coming to Dallas, Texas, September 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2018, the Blockchain and Future Tech Expo. This is going to be a gigantic conference of over 5,000 people. We're going to be talking about blockchain and its applications. We're going to be talking about quantum computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and several other future technologies that are poised to and actually changing our lives as we speak. Here's why you should attend. As you may know, early adopters are the ones that investigated and profited from things like the gold rush in the 1800s, from the dot-com boom in the 1990s, from the internet boom in 2005, from the smartphone explosion in 2007, from the real estate boom that ended in 2008, and of course, from the Bitcoin boom that started in 2012. Early adopters act now. They don't wait till later. They go out west first. In their covered wagons, they find the biggest gold nuggets. If you consider yourself an early adopter and you want to find the biggest nuggets, then you owe it to yourself to attend this upcoming conference. Blockchain is going to affect how we control and store our medical data, how we send money around the world, how we bank, and more. but artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cybersecurity will play a pivotal role in our lives as well. And that's why our next event, September 14th to the 16th at the Dallas Convention Center, is going to have not only 5,000 plus attendees, but will showcase blockchain, AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, and more. You want to get in on the coming gold rush of future tech and opportunity as an early adopter. Don't be left out. To register, go to bftexpo.com. That's blockchainfuturetechexpo.com. Thank you. You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.